Hello, hi everyone. It's Melanie here with Stamp with Melanie. Okay. All right, looks like we're on. Got a little bit of time, not much, but a couple seconds here before it's actually 7 o'clock, so I'm going to wait for a minute and see if anybody else pops on. I'm going to wait for a minute. Okay, hold on. One thing we didn't do is turn the volume. Okay. All right. Okay, I think we're good to go. I have a couple of cards for you that I'm going to make this evening. I think they're both really cute. I hope you do too. They are using the new Charming Day bundle and the coordinating Floral Charm Designer Series paper. All of these products go live on July 1st. I've shown the paper before, but in case you didn't see it, here's a look at some of the sheets. Really like the colors. I think as we move from summer to fall, they're going to be very, very popular. Okay, the Stampin' Up! Identified colors in this suite of products is Barberry Burst, Blackberry Bliss, Mossy Meadow, Night of Navy, Pretty Peacock, and Timid Tiger. You will also notice that there are shades of things like this looks like a little pecan pie to me. So there are some other shades of colors that aren't identified, but you will find them in the suite. All right, this suite, the stamp set is a cling stamp set, meaning it's red rubber. And it has 3 floral image stamps, and then several sentiments that are absolutely perfect for most of our crafting needs. The dies that come with this set not only will cut out the stamped images, but if, say, you wanted to mount an image with dimension behind one of your stamped images, you have those as well. Or if you just wanted to cut out some greenery, you have that. So, all right, we're going to go ahead and get started here. The first card is just a basic, well, it's not a basic, it's just a cute card, I think. And this is what the sample that I made looks like. So we're going to make one of these, and we're going to probably change it up just a little. There's a couple of things I thought I would change after I saw it done. Okay, so I'm using Berry Burst cardstock, cut to 4 1/4 by 11 and scored at 5 1/2. So I can just fold that in half, and then burnish it with my bone folder. Okay, then I have a piece of silver cardstock that's cut to 4 by 5 1/4. And on top of that, I'm going to layer a piece of the Designer Series paper. So that's the basic part of the front of the card. And we'll go ahead and put these together now with some Stamp and Seal. Now, because of Facebook's new policy where they will only allow lives to remain on your page for 30 days, as soon as the live is over, I'm going to upload it to YouTube. I'll delete it from Facebook, and then I'll re-add the link to the YouTube version. Well, it'll be the same, but I'll add the YouTube link. So if you want to go back and watch it at a later time to grab any of the measurements or anything, you can do that. All right, the next thing that I did for this card is I die cut a couple of shapes from the meant to be dies. Now, I haven't used these much, and so I was very pleased to find out that when you die cut these, you get both the outer edge and the inner edge cut. So my frames were cut by, I got this entire piece out of one die cut. Now, I'm not going to use this piece. I'm only going to use this part as a frame. The same thing happened with my basic white piece. I got both. And in this case, I'm going to set the frame aside and use the inside of it. And I'm going to tuck those back there so that I'll have them when I want to use them. Now for this card, I'm going to stamp the smaller floral image on the side, but I'm going to do it a couple of times. And then I'm going to color it with Stampin' Blends. And because this paper has like a watercolor type of effect to it, that's what I'm trying to achieve in my coloring. I'm not trying to achieve a full colored image, but I'm trying to mimic what I see in the designer series paper. All right. So I'm going to grab my memento, and I have my stamp on my block. Okay, and then I'm going to do it again down here. All right. Now I'm going to color the flowers with Berry Burst blends and the flower centers with light Darling Duckling and light Peach Pie. And then I'm going to color the leaves with Mossy Meadow. So let's start with the light Berry Burst. And I'm by no means going for a full professional type coloring effort here. I'm just trying to get some color to my flowers and my leaves. And remember, I'm trying to achieve or mimic a watercolor type of effect. So there's the light. I'm going to go back with the dark. Do the same on the second one. Now remember, with the Stampin' Blends, when they dry, they look totally different than when they're wet. And I'm pulling out the light again to blend it a little better. Extend that color out a little more. And again, you don't really see the full effect of the blending until a while later after it has all dried. So I'm going to go on my flowers, my flower centers. And that was the light Darling Duckling. And then I'm going to go back over that with the light Peach Pie. Okay, finally, I'm going to grab the light Mossy Meadow. And my Mossy Meadow needs to be replaced. So my tip is very, very frayed. If you can see that. So I'll be adding one of these to my next order, but it's worked. It worked okay on my sample. And it really looks more like a paintbrush with this frayed edge. Okay. The dark Mossy Meadow is the same. My brush end is kind of frayed, but it works. Okay, and back over it with the light. To blend that color in a little better. This is where the blends really shine. All right. Okay, we're going to set this aside for a second. I'm going to get these blends out of here. And now I'm going to bring in a strip of Berry Burst. And I'm using my embossing buddy. I'm going to stamp my happy birthday greeting in Versamark. Versamark, where are you? All right, let's see, where did that bugger get to? Oh, here it is. All right, here's the Versamark. Okay. I'm going to add some silver embossing powder. I'll scoop that back up later. I'm going to grab my heat gun and set that embossing powder. All right, there we have our little happy birthday greeting. And let me get this powder off of here. Ick. Okay. I'm going to grab my little mini trimmer and cut this down. Grab my paper snips. I'm going to cut it down a little further because I'm going to get it as close as I can to the embossing. All right, there's our birthday. There's birthday. And now we'll do happy. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to trim really close to the embossing to make my words just pop a little more. Okay, good enough. We're going to grab our card back over here. We have our center. We're going to put a frame around it. And then we'll add our sentiment and some embellishments. And that's basically what it's going to look like. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to use, first of all, just some Stamp and Seal. On this piece. Oh, we're going to do ours this way. This time I did my other one. The other one I did the points up and down. This time, oh, I could do that. Let's see. If I do the happy there. And the birthday. Oh, yeah, that's going to look good. All right, let's do that. Okay. So we'll put that down. That looks pretty middle-ish to me. Okay, now I didn't put any sticker paper on the back of this, but here's what I did. And this worked out pretty well, I thought, on my sample card. I'm taking the Tombow liquid glue and just making a really thin line right along the edge of our white panel. Okay. Then all I have to do is pick this up and set it right down. And seriously, no glue. I'm not wearing any of it. That's very unusual for me. Okay, I'm going to grab, let's grab the small mini dimensionals. I know I have one that's open here. Here it is. Okay. For our words. And we'll put the happy there. And then we'll put the birthday below that. Ta-da! I think I like that. I'm going to do one more thing. I'm going to grab the light bubble bath. I'm just going to go over these flowers just a little more around the edges. All right, cool. And again, I won't have the full effect of the blends for a little bit longer until that's thoroughly dry, but it shouldn't be too much longer. I'm going to add some. These are the embellishments that come with this suite. They're called Charming Shiver Faceted Dots. And I'm going to add a couple of those. And there's our first card. Now, I think that's really pretty. I think that turned out cute. And I'm glad I added the second flower. Here's my sample again that I made. And then there's the second one. I think the second one we just made now turned out a lot cuter. What do you think? You can leave a comment if you'd like. I'd appreciate it. All right, let's move on to the second project that I have for you. I'm going to get some of this stuff out of the way because I'm going to need my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. Because I have something I want to show you. So just give me 1 second. Just move a couple things away. Okay. Ooh. Block down. I'll be looking for that later. Okay, here's the second card that we're going to make. This is so cute, so easy to make. I have I used the Everyday Arches to make my opening. And it's super cute, super easy, and I'm going to show you how to do this. So to start with, I have a piece of Lost Lagoon, and this is 5.5 by 4 1/4. Then I have a piece of coordinating DSP from that pack that is 5 1/4 by 4 inches. I'm just going to glue those together right now with some Stampin' Seal, and that card base will be completely done. Everything else we'll do, we'll be working with the little arches. So I put my arches back, so I don't remember which ones I used exactly. What I think it was these two. Let's see. Yes, okay. So if you have these dies, it was actually it was the two that are in the middle. So there are 4 smaller and 4 larger. So it was the two that were smack in the middle. We're going to pull those out. Now, first of all, to make this piece, the fold over piece, I took a piece of cardstock that's 8.5 inches long, and it's so 2 3/4 inches wide. I'm just going to fold it in half. Now you probably can see where this is going right off the bat. Let me bring my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine over here. Let me get things out of here so you can see. Done with embossing powder. Okay. All right, so we have our little piece of cardstock, and it's already folded in half. Then I'm going to take the bigger of the 2 arch dies, and I'm going to put it so that it's just, I want to make sure you can see this, so that the top of it is just at the edge of the paper. So look from this side. Hold on. Let me get this out of here. What in the world? Piece of paper stuck. Okay, gone. Okay. So again, just going to center this on here and just have it right at the edge of that stitching. And that way nothing will get cut there. Now, just to make sure that that doesn't move, I'm going to tape it down. And I want it to be as straight as possible because I'm adding to it. You know, I'm adding the white layers. Oh, come on. So put that one like that, and that one like that. So it's really right up against, the paper is right up against the edge of that die. And it's not going to go anywhere. I was kind of leery about cutting it through two layers, but that really didn't present any issues for me at all. I am going to roll it through twice, just to be sure, because I hate when the machine makes me a liar. Okay, take that away, lift up, remove our little mint tape. And here we have our little, ta-da, there, our little foldable flap. Cute, right? Okay, so I'm done with the bigger one. Now I'm going to just grab this smaller one, smaller arch die, and I'm going to cut 2 of these. Since I have the Stamp & Cut and Emboss machine here, we'll just do it right here. There's one. Oh, that didn't cut through the whole way. This is why I kind of run them through twice most of the time, just in case one edge doesn't cut. In this case, it's no big deal because this is really easy to trim it up anyhow, but and it's probably my fault because I probably didn't have it on the mat right. Okay, there's one. And now we'll do our second one. Okay. Now, probably need a shim when I'm using this die. It looks like that one side just isn't cutting cleanly for me, but it's easy to redo it. It's also easy to just take my snips and do it myself. All right. Perfect. Okay, let me get this out of the way. Like I usually say, you don't need to see me die cut, you know how to do it, but I wanted you to see how I laid that out so that I didn't catch that fold on the Lost Lagoon piece. Now these, I'm just going to layer one on the outside and one on the inside of my flap. Okay. Set these aside. Oops. And we're going to move on to the next step here. Okay. All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the larger floral stamp and I'm going to stamp it in Memento, and then I'm going to color it with blends again. This time I'm using Timid Tiger and Lost Lagoon. And maybe, I don't know, we'll see. Maybe some peach pie too. Where'd that peach pie go? I just had it. Here it is. All right. Okay, so I want to ink up my block, my stamp. Again, I'm not going for perfection in coloring. I'm trying to mimic the watercolor type look of my DSP. Perfect. let's see. I'm going to start with the light peach pie on this. And I'm going to color my flowers. Then we'll do the big one the same. Just as a refresher, when you're coloring with blends, you need to stamp your outline in Memento or a water-based ink. If you're coloring with watercolor or colored pencils, you need to stamp your image in Stays On. And that is so that the colors don't run, don't bleed. All right, this is the light Timid Tiger. And I'm going to go back over my flower. If you're watching, whether you're watching live or you're watching on replay, leave a note, say hi, where you're watching from. I'd appreciate it. Okay. And then I'm going to grab my dark Timid Tiger. And for this one, just going to go around. Okay, I'm going to grab that light peach pie again. Go back over these flowers a little more. Again, with the blends, you don't get the full effect of how it's going to look until after it dries, which will take a little bit of time. All right, that looks pretty darn good. Let's grab the light Lost Lagoon, and this probably, oh, this doesn't look too bad. I was going to say this blend is probably beat up too. Everybody's technique for using the blends is a little bit different. Even mine will change varied based on the project. This summer seems to be my summer to be crazy about orange flowers, though, so that's why you're getting orange for this card. This one is headed out to a friend that likes shades of purple, so that's perfect for her. All right, let's get the dark Lost Lagoon. This is looking really good. Okay, just a little bit more. This is a bigger image. Takes a little bit longer. All right, now we'll go back over this with the light Lost Lagoon. This will be really quick. To blend in our blending a little more. I think I just replaced this one. I think that's why it's cooperating so nicely, because I use Lost Lagoon a lot. All right, bingo. Now I'm going to grab the dye for this image. And I'll grab the mat. There we go, that looks pretty good. And this time I'll be right back. Just step over here to the side, run this through the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. That looks pretty good. I just want to do one more thing. Okay. All right, now it's going to drive me crazy. So we fixed it. All right, now on my front, this is going to be the one that goes on the outside. I'm going to stamp "Thanks for Being You," and I'm going to stamp in. I'm going to get the Lost Lagoon ink. I brought Pretty Peacock over, and that's not the color I want to use for this. All right. Thanks for being you. And also, I just thought I'd take a minute. I had a friend visiting last weekend that likes to stamp, and she looked at my Stampin' Chamois, and she's like, what did you do to that? So here's what I did. I took it and cut it in 4 pieces, and that way I can pick one up and do a little more in-depth cleaning. This is really well used, but this works really well for me. So just a thought. I thought I'd pass it along and tell you all about it since she seemed so shocked when she saw it. Okay, so that's the front. And then our inside, we are going to stamp the foliage at the top. And let's see. And I guess I'll use the Lost Lagoon for that as well. Or I could use Pretty Peacock. What do you think? Pretty Peacock or Lost Lagoon? I'll use Pretty Peacock. Why not? Just stamp that up at the top. And then my inside sentiment is, "You made my day." And I'm going to stamp that in Lost Lagoon. There, that looks good. Now all we need is a little stamp and seal and put this puppy together. All right, we are almost done. And remember, this bundle all goes on sale on Tuesday, July 1st. It's actually part of a suite. So we're going to put this one, whoops. Okay, there we go. This is how it goes. So this one goes on the inside. And I'm just going to use Stamp and Seal because that's really all I need for this. And then, thanks for being you will go on the outside. Then I'm going to take this, put it on the front of my card. I'm going to use Seal Plus because I don't want it going anywhere. I'm just going to line it up so that it's up along the top. And then, that was a glare. Then I'm going to take my flower and just add a little seal and add that right down there. Well, now I've got to cover that little bit of, there we go. That looks really good. Okay, now grab my embellishments. Where did they go? Here they are. And this time I'm going to use these are probably Petal Pink, but that's what I'm going to use. All right, so here's our second card. Here's the first card that we made. The name of the bundle is Charming Days. It's part of a suite. There's DSP, there's ribbon, which here's the ribbon. I didn't use it, but here it is. And there's the embellishments that come with it. And then these were my samples that I made for myself before we went live. So there's all 4 of them that you can see. I think the suite is so pretty. I love the stamp set. I love the sentiments, and I really, really, really like this designer series paper. So if you haven't taken a look at it, or if you haven't seen the online exclusives yet, when you see them on Tuesday, take a closer look at this one. I think this is a pretty special suite. All right, everybody, thanks for watching. Have a great weekend. Thank you, Carol. I appreciate your comment. Have a great week, and we'll see you again soon. Thanks so much. Bye.